Hi guys, Chris here with Super Savvy Travelers. Hey, before I do anything, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. We have so much good stuff coming up. And follow me on Instagram at Chris Sobolev because I put a lot of stuff up there that I don't necessarily put here. And it's fun and exciting stuff and you're going to like it. So follow me over there too. Ultimately, I'm getting a few things. My TikTok reels and all those things are going to be up and rolling with all the fun and exciting things happening in Super Savvy land. They're not there yet, so just go follow me on Instagram. Anyway, today I wanted to go over some of the multitude of red flags you might run into in purchasing Italian real estate. These are just a few. And really it sort of points up the reason that you really need to know what you're doing when you're going in to purchase a property in Italy. So the first of these red flags is, no deed that actually proves that the sellers selling the house actually own the house. So we had one situation like this. We've had several situations like this, and I'll go into another slight twist on this whole thing in a minute. But it was a situation where one of our clients wanted to buy this sort of ruin, not really a ruin, but something that needed a desperate amount of love. And we went to go and finalize the deal because the property was a screaming deal. And we went, okay, let's go see what they got. And we found out that the way they got the property was their aunt had died and she had a letter that said, now you guys own the property. And it's like, that's not a deed and that does not stand up to the notaio. So we had to protect our client. So we sent her over to Nick Metta at Studio Legale Metta. He actually counseled the sellers on what they could do to perfect the deed. It didn't cost them that much money. It took some time, but it was a screaming deal and waiting was okay. So in that particular case, we got the title perfected and our client was able to buy this property at a crazy price, a beautiful property for not very much money, and be protected at the same time. So that was, I would say that was our super savvy team, the Nick Metta, Antonella Lucchese, the architect up there in Santa Domenica, and all the people that worked on that. It was really a group effort and we pulled it off. So that's one of them. The other thing is a thing called Usucapione, and I know I've talked about that on the channel, but not for a while. So all you new guys, you need to know what that is. What it is squatters' rights. And it's very ubiquitous in southern Italy and other areas in Italy as well, mostly in the historic centers, because the Italian diaspora, they all went off and they abandoned their properties. And you still see them crumbling in the historic centers, especially in southern Italy, so many of them. And so the neighbors went, well, Giuseppe's in America and we don't know if he's alive or dead. I'm going to start, using his ripostiglio, his storage shed, and I'm going to use it for 20 years. I've used it and there's been no interruption. I've been overtly using it. Now it's mine. Okay. Now, can Giuseppe come back and assert a claim? Yes, he can. But that's something that may or may not hold up. So with the Usucapione, first of all, you have to make sure that it was done in such a way that it's actually Usucapione. And you have to make sure that the title is actually in the guy's name. So if it is an Usucapione, you have to make sure that everything is okay for them to sell it. Now, I'm not an attorney. I'm not a real estate agent in Italy. I am in California. I'm not a broker. I'm not any of these things. That's why we tell you always get an attorney when you have title issues, but especially when you have title issues that come up like this and you're like, okay, what do we do now? There are ways to handle it. You just need to know who to contact and how to compile your team. Now, another thing about Usucapione is there's two different types. There's one where somebody just takes it over for 20 years and that's all fine. There's another where somebody actually has a deed or something like that. Then possession for 10 years where they, in good faith, thought they had it and really owned it and was using it and that sort of thing. That's the 10-year timeline. The 20-year timeline is somebody comes over and just uses Giuseppe's ripostiglio, like we said. And that's how that works. But again, always get an attorney on those because you never know. And, in the event that somebody could come and make a claim, you have to decide whether that's a risk you're willing to take. The next one is the thing I talk about the most, and it is abusive additions. And again, we see that a lot and in varying degrees, okay? Abusive meaning they're not permitted. Somebody came over and just did something and put it up and there it is, and there's no permits, which is illegal. And there are pretty strict penalties with regards to that thing. Now, if somebody put up a pergola in the yard and it wasn't permitted, I don't really care. I mean, of course, you should get it permitted. You should retroactively do whatever you got to do to make everything legal so you never have to worry about anything. But a pergola is one thing. A complete wing on a house, which we've seen so many times. That one that I told you about previously, where it was an entire granny's wing and a swimming pool and all those other things, and it was unpermitted, and it was obvious that if the authorities came, you would have to tear it down because there were setbacks that were not observed. There was a swimming pool put in, and as you know, you need that like super comprehensive permit to put in a swimming pool. Well, I can tell you they didn't do that. And they were asking a lot of money for this property. They were asking the same amount that they should ask if it was all permitted. And to me, that was just a no-go. I was really bummed because I loved it. It was a beautiful property, gorgeous views, beautiful swimming pool. And I was like, ooh, I can't wait to put this on the channel and show it to our guys. I didn't even put it on the channel. I only use it now as something not to buy. I don't show pictures or anything like that, but I use it as an example of what you could get stuck with if you're not careful. Now, how do you know it's abusive? It's not on the floor plans. So always make sure that when you buy a property, you get the floor plans, you walk the floor plans and the property, and make sure that everything is on the floor plans. And then I would also, if there's been improvements and things, have the geometra or architect pull the permits. Make sure everything's legit, because read about instances where people have actually been sold a bill of goods because the geometra was crooked. And I've read about certain situations where somebody bought an abusive property and it was made to look like it was all fine. But when they pulled the permits, they found out that the seller was lying and a fraud, and the geometra who certified them that there were permits was also lying and a fraud. So be careful on that. I can't stress that enough. Another thing is unfixable problems. Now, the vast majority of problems can be fixed. I would say probably all of them can be fixed, but the problem is, how much is it going to cost you to fix it? And here's another example I use a lot because it was terrifying to me. We were down in Calabria. We were going through a property with a guy who actually made his living as a real estate inspector. And we were going through this property. He was one of our clients. We're showing him this property. He goes, look at that wall. I go, what? I go, there's lesions. We see lesions all the time, you know, cracks and whatnot. He goes, no, look at the pattern of the lesions. And we look, and he said, you see how the middle part is separated from the structural part, from the part that's holding it up. He said, that wall's just going to fall right out. And then the roof comes down. That whole wall, that whole section of the house is at risk, and it could go anytime. And I'm like, oh my goodness. I go, what causes that? And he said, foundation issues. Sure enough, we went around the bottom of the house, and there was a place where there was water going. It was eroding the foundation of the house, and the house was basically falling in on itself. Now, can you fix it? Yeah. Probably have to jack up the house and shove some cement, or I don't even know how they fix it. You can fix anything. How much is that going to cost? How much is it going to cost to redo, like hold up the roof and redo that whole wall, or sandwich it, or do whatever you do, just in order to get the house structurally safe? It was horrifying to me. And that house, they wanted a lot of money for it. Again, they wanted the same amount of money for that you would pay for a house that had no problems in it. And to me, that was just terrifying. So obviously we chucked that one off our list of houses to show people, because I don't want our clients buying that kind of stuff. Now, the architect would have caught that. And we always say, get an inspection with the architect. Antonello in Calabria is very good and very diligent, very willing to drop everything and come look at your property. And he's even gone down to Aquapesa with us to look at other properties. He's found a lot of problems that we felt were just not something our clients wanted to deal with. Another one is dishonest real estate agents, and I'm sorry to say it, they do exist, and we've had clients run into them. Usually clients become our clients or still come to us for help after they've already fallen into that hole, and it's like there's not much we can do. Again, you have to read my book. It tells you all the nightmare instances that can happen and how to avoid them. I could go into it now, but it will take an hour for me to go over it. Definitely buy and read my book because it will save you a lot of headache and heartache in the future. But, real estate agents just say, yes, the garden goes with it. Of course, the garden goes with it. Look at this beautiful garden. And then you buy the house and you realize it's not on the floor plans. If it's not on the floor plans and you signed that the floor plans were correct, you're hosed. There's nothing you can do. Terraces, that kind of thing. All of those things can be misrepresented. The next point I have is translators who don't translate everything. Now, normally when we work with our clients, I get a copy of the deed and we go over it in detail in a Zoom call or at a table at a cafe or whatever to make sure you understand exactly what everything means. There's some very, very important things, even in a boilerplate act deed, that goes to the notile that you will be signing. And you need to know what everything is so that when you sign, you know everything that's in it and you're in agreement, because you can get into a world of hurt if you sign something just thinking, well, it's fine. Translator's telling me this. Well, the translator in the notaio's office, he wants to get in and out, right? He's going to go, okay, this just means this just means, but what does it actually mean to you as a buyer? That's something very, very important. And in Calabria, we have our friend Lucia who does that kind of stuff too. She's very diligent and really works to protect you guys. If you want to work with her, let us know and we will put you in touch. Now, this last one is one that we ran into personally. It's multiple sellers who hate each other. Oh, this was one family, they all hated each other and they all wanted to screw the other person. And it's like, oh my goodness, what the heck? And it got ridiculous. And we were trying to negotiate, okay, we're going to do this for this person, we'll do this for that person, blah, 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 and then this person's not reacting, okay, we got to talk to their lawyer, blah, blah, blah. We did all this stuff. And finally, at the end, the day of the act, we go in and the notario's office, Gianna down there, called us and she said, you know what, there's a lien on the property and we're not going to do the act today. And I'm like, what? There's a lien? Oh my goodness. And she caught it. It was amazing. And so we went, okay, now what do we do? Well, the lien was taken out by this brother over here who hates all these other people, and he's in no hurry to finalize it. The lien had been paid, but nobody had stricken it off of the deed, the title. It was still there. It's a cloud. We don't want that. Cloud on title. No, it must be clean. So, so he just basically dragged his feet and pussyfooted around and did all kinds of stuff. And finally, Antonella says, this and that. And it was August. It was starting to be August. And we had sold our house. All our B&Bs were full. We had no place to go. So I told Antonella, I said, if we're not in the notario's office and me with the keys in a week, deal's off. Deal's off. And we were already way past the compromesso period and all that stuff. We were just being nice by extending everything. And guess how quickly that guy got his act together and got the lien handled. It was done in a day. And we were in the notario's office and it was a done deal. So don't ever be afraid to walk from a deal. And another thing is make sure you understand what's in the compromesso and that kind of thing. Again, if you take my course, you can understand everything about that. Also go back and watch the videos about switcheroo. Look at switcheroo in the search bar and you're going to see what a compromesso is and why it's so important. So, okay, that's enough soapbox for today. Obviously, that's not all the red flags you could find, but there are some of them we found. Again, read my book. It's so important. Take our course. It's so important. Get the right team on your side. It's so important. So we'll see you in Italy very soon, guys. Take care.